Pythagorean trigonometric identities or trigonometric square identities are very simple things. They only look complex. And if you don't know how to derive those identities, then you've come to the right place. Let's jump into the video straight away. Hey guys, this is Vikas Sharma welcoming you on behalf of Exponent to Success to yet another video of ours. Exponent to Success is an initiative that helps to add an exponent to your learning curve. If you're new here or if you're landing on our channel pages for the first time today, I would strongly recommend that you subscribe to our channel right now so that you do not miss out on any future content from us. And do not forget to click on the bell notification also so that whenever any new content is uploaded, it comes right into your inbox. In the previous videos, we talked about the very basics of trigonometry and from where did it start, what was the history of trigonometry, and why was it used, how we can use it in our daily lives and all that. And we then moved on to learn about the various trigonometric ratios, that's like sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cotangent theta, etc., etc. And if you happen to miss those videos, the link is right there on the top right corner of the screen. Just click on the link and you'll be taken to the video straight away. In this video, we'll be talking about Pythagorean trigonometric identities. They are also called Pythagorean square identities, or let me just call them square identities. And if you don't know why they are called square identities, then by the end of this video, you should know why they are called square identities. So to start with the trig identities or the square identities, let's remember the very basic rules of SOHCAHTOA. If you use SOHCAHTOA, it's going to become child's play for you. So always remember to use SOHCAHTOA. Let me write it here also. SOHCAHTOA. And I'm sure you remember the acronym by now. If you don't, then here it is, that sine of an angle is always the opposite over hypotenuse. Cos of an angle is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan of an angle or tangent of an angle is opposite over adjacent. So SOHCAHTOA. If you always use this SOHCAHTOA, trigonometry is going to be child's play for you. That's what this child is saying here. Right, so to begin with the Pythagorean trigonometric identities, let me start with a right angle triangle. So let's just say that this is the right angle that we have in the triangle, and this is some angle, we don't know the measure, but let's call it theta for the time being. Let's name the triangle also. Let me call this triangle ABC. So the triangle ABC is right angled at B, and let me give the traditional names given by Pythagoras to the side lengths. Let me call this A, let me call this B, and let me call this C. According to Pythagoras, C was always the hypotenuse or always the longest side in a triangle. Okay, to start with the trigonometric identities or the Pythagorean trigonometric identities, let me start by calculating all the trigonometric ratios. So let me start with sine. So sine of theta or sine theta will be, according to it is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is the side which is opposite to the angle theta, which happens to be A, and hypotenuse we know is C. So sine theta in this angle is A over C. Similarly, if you look at cos theta according to Ka is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. Again, the angle given theta is here. The side adjacent to that is going to be this, which is equal to B, and over the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always the longest side, which is C. And tan theta, according to TOA, it's going to be opposite over adjacent. Or I can also say tan theta is equal to sine theta over cos theta. So if you do that, A over C divided by B over C, so it happens to be A over B. Even if you look at it this way, that the opposite is A and the adjacent is B, so it's going to be A over B. So remember that SOHCAHTOA can solve all your trigonometric problems. You don't have to do anything about it. Now once we have these identities, I can use them anywhere I like. So let me just copy them and take them to the place there where I want. So let me paste it here, and let me also reduce the size a little. I hope that's visible. These identities are also called quotient identities. So let me write them as quotient identities. And then there are some reciprocal identities. In reciprocal identities, we have got cosecant theta, which is nothing but 1 over sine theta. So since sine theta we see is a over c, cosecant theta is going to be c over a. The secant theta, which is the same as writing the reciprocal of cos theta, or 1 over cos theta, and since cos theta is b over c, secant theta is going to be c over b. And there's a cotangent theta, or simply called the cot theta, which is the reciprocal of tan theta, or I can say just 1 over tan theta, and since tan theta is a over b, the reciprocal of that is going to be b over a. So these are the reciprocal identities that we have. Let me also save these for the time being. And then we have the square identities. So for the square identities, I would again need a right angle triangle. So let me start by making a right angle triangle. That's the perpendicular, this is the base, and this is the hypotenuse. And let me call this angle as theta. This is the right angle that we have. The triangle is ABC, again right angle at B. So we have got A, B, the two legs of the triangle, and C is always the longest side of the hypotenuse. Now, why they are called Pythagorean trigonometric identities is they're called trigonometric identities because we use them in the concept of trigonometry, and they are called Pythagorean identities because we derive them using the Pythagorean theorem. So according to the Pythagorean theorem, which we know is true, we have learned that in the last few videos. We have seen the proof of the Pythagorean videos 3 different ways, and if you haven't seen that video, the link to that also is on the top right corner of the screen. So according to the Pythagorean theorem, a square plus b square is going to be equal to c square, which is the hypotenuse. Now if I divide both sides by c square, I'm going to get a square over c square plus b square over c square is going to be 1 because c square over c square is going to be 1. I can also write this as a over c whole square plus b over c whole square, that is going to be equal to 1, or a over c, if we look here, that's the same as sine theta. So I can write it as sine theta whole square plus cos theta whole square is equal to 1. Now here I would like to draw your attention to the fact that sine theta whole square, unlike we have x to the power of 2 or x square, is just written as x square. The same way, if we have sine theta whole square, is it going to be sine theta square? No, unfortunately that's going to be wrong, because it's not the square of the angle. So if I take an example, let's say that if I have sine 30 and I want to find the square of that, sine 30 we know is 1 over 2, and I take the square of that, so that's going to be 1 over 4. So sine 30 whole square is going to give me 1 upon 4. But if I square the angle, that's going to become sine theta square, in which case it becomes sine of 900 degrees, which gives me a wrong answer. So remember, it's always the ratio that is squared, not the angle, and that is why we write it also in a different way. We write it as sine square theta. And same way, when we are taking two of those, so if we have sine theta plus sine theta, like we have x plus x is equal to 2x, same way sine theta plus sine theta gives me 2 sine theta. Don't confuse it with sine 2 theta, because sine 2 theta is the double of the angle. So sine 2 theta, if sine is equal to 30 degrees, then that is going to be sine 60 degrees. So remember all these things. So the first identity according to this that we have here is sine theta whole square. So sine theta whole square, like I told you, it's going to be written as sine square theta. So sine square theta plus cos theta whole square is going to be written as cos square theta. That's going to be 1. So if you square the sine theta, if you square the ratio of sine theta and you square the ratio of cos theta and you add them to both together, you're always going to get 1. That's what this identity says, and we can prove it later if you want by taking actual numerical values. Let's start with the second identity that we have. So let me for a moment erase all this. And like I did in the previous example, let me start with the Pythagorean theorem only, which says that a square plus b square is equal to c square. This time I'm not going to divide by c square, I'm going to divide both the sides by a square. So that gives me a square over a square plus b square over a square, which is going to be equal to c square over a square. A square plus a square is going to be 1. b square over a square can also be written as b over a whole square, and c square over a square is going to be written as c over a whole square. Now b over a we know is cot theta, so we can say that cot 1 plus cot square theta is going to be c over a. C over a is here, which is cosecant theta or cosec theta, so I can write it as cosec square theta. So that gives me the second identity, that 1 plus cot square theta is equal to cosecant square theta. If we remember the video about the trigonometric ratios that we calculated, we saw that cot theta and cosecant theta are not defined for 90-degree angles. That means that the angle theta is going to be 90 degrees. Both cosecant theta and cot theta are going to be undefined. So that's why instead of taking all angles up to 90 degrees, I can exclude 90 degrees from this. So I can just say that 0 is less than equal to theta, which is less than 90. They are defined for the 0 angle, so I'll take them as 0, but exclude 90 from this. And for the third identity, I'm going to again start with the Pythagorean theorem. But this time I'm not going to divide them by a square or c square. This time I'm going to divide them by b square. So I get a square over b square plus b square over b square is equal to c square over b square. A square over b square, I can write it as a over b whole square. B square over b square gives me 1, and c square over b square I can write it as c over b whole square. Now if we look at the ratios again, the identities that we have here, a over b is here, which is tan theta. So the square of tan theta is going to be tan square theta. That's the third identity, the tan square theta plus 1 is going to give me c over b. C over b is here, which is secant theta. So the square of that is going to give me secant square theta. Now again, like we had a condition in cot square theta and cosecant square theta, if you remember the ratios again, tan theta and secant theta are not defined for 0 values. So if the value of theta is 0, if there's a 0 angle, both tan theta and secant theta are not defined or they are undefined. So I'm going to just exclude 0 from this list of angles. So it's going to be 0 is less than theta over, which is less than or equal to 90 degrees. And these are the square identities that we have. Wasn't it simple? So I hope you learned about all the square identities and why we call them the Pythagorean trigonometric identities, or why we call them the trigonometric square identities, why these are called the quotient identities, why these are called the reciprocal identities. Well, this was all a video about all the identities that we have. Well, we are going to have a lot of more identities also, which we'll cover in the coming videos. But for now, this is what you need to know, and we'll probably in the next video we are going to look at some questions and learn how to solve them. And before we end the video, I'm going to leave you with some memes that we have, some interesting memes, and I'm sure after learning the square identities, you will be able to figure out what they mean, and they'll give you a good laugh too. So that brings us to an end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video thoroughly and you learned something useful out of it. In case you did, I would like to hear all about it, so just head down to the comment section below and leave in your comments for me. In case you are facing any problems with any of your questions, or in case you want me to cover any specific topic, just mention that in the comment section too, and I'll surely get back to you with a video. I would surely recommend that you hit on the like button below and share the video link with your friends so that they also learn something useful out of it. And in case you haven't subscribed to our channel as yet, this is the right time to do so. You see a subscribe button right in the center of the screen. Just click on that and you'll be subscribed to our channel straight away. And do not forget to click on the bell notification also, so that any future content is delivered right into your inbox. As a part of your continued learning, you can click on these videos shown on the left side here. Please like and share the video. Take care. God bless.